You're not ready for this class? Hello, Tim. Welcome back. Whether you're ready or not, we're still going to have it. Apparently, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 people were not ready as well. Our Zoom attendance should be 11. We're at 1 because I'm one of them. All right. But anyway, very grateful to have you online, Tim. How many of you tried this problem last night? 1, 2. Told you there'd be a drop off. All right. 2 of you. Okay, let's work on it together. This is as hard as they get, this unit. Well, there's another thing we do you might think is harder, but I think it's easier, but we'll see. Okay, so here we are. We want to figure out everything in the end. I'll come back to this problem, but this is what I want to know. I'll just leave it on here. I want to know how much of this stuff is made and how much of this stuff is made. Okay. I want to know which one of these is 0. I want to know how much of the other one is left over. So I want to know what the limiting reactant is and how much excess reactant are left. This is the peak stuff that we do in this unit. Like I said, there's one more thing that's mathy that we'll do, and we'll see how you like that. It's fine. Okay. So here we go. We already balanced it. So that's good. Step number 2, find the molar mass of each component. I think if I did this last year, yeah, I have them right there typed out for you. Now, you don't have to do everything the exact same way I do. You're welcome to get the question wrong. Blaine, welcome. You can. Those I use the actual AP periodic table I gave you. So you will want to use those on the exam. What's that? Yeah, I'd start getting in the habit. When I do practice problems, I'm lazy. But on your exam, yeah, you'll use your periodic table and you'll use the exact values on there. What's that? Yes, I downloaded it from AP. Kind of in a bad mood because I accidentally had Diet Mountain Dew for lunch. So if I snap at anyone, I apologize. Because there's too big of a space between the word diet and Mountain Dew. See how big that space is? So like I saw it from that angle. Can you see the diet? That angle. That angle. There you go. So I just grabbed and went, and it was the wrong one. Yeah, struggle's real. Fat guy probs. Okay, are we all right with that? On this one, you need the mass of pretty much everything. Okay, we are now going to determine the limiting reactant. The limiting reactant, if you recall, you make 2 picket fences starting with the different givens, solving for the same product. It's a lot of words. So you start 2 picket fences, one with that given, one with that given, and you solve it for the same product. So I usually go for the one that has the shorter things in it. This seems written reverse of the slide before, right? I think. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Still the same thing, but that might screw us up. I apologize. All right. So double check. If you wrote your equation this way, which is how I had it yesterday, but you're now here, make sure that you have lithium acetate is 65.98 and silver carbonate is 275.75. I apologize for switching that. I don't know why I would have done that. It does not matter which one you solve for, but you got to solve for the same one. All right, so here we go. I probably have it all worked out on the next slide, but we'll just pretend I don't. Now, after we do this one, I'll show you the shorter way that kids, some of you will love. It is significantly faster. All right, so 2 picket fences. I start with the 2 givens, 0.625 grams of lithium carbonate and 3 grams of silver acetate. Now, my good friends, I don't want to write all this. So I am going to use my shortcut. I'm going to say that this stuff is A, B, C, and D. Because I don't want to write Li2CO3 and AgC2H3O2 and LiC2H3O2 and Ag2CO3 over and over and over. So I'm going to call them A. So here we go. Looking up here, if that confuses you, then don't do it. I'm given 6.25 grams of lithium carbonate, which I'm now calling A, correct? So I'm going to come down here. 6.25 grams of A, which means what must come down here? Tell your partner. Grams of A. And if I look up here, I found grams of A. They were right here, right? 73.89. And grams are always per 1 mole of the same thing. Always, always, always. So what must come down here then? Mole A. And I look up at my balanced equation and it is a 1. Okay, now, it doesn't really matter. I'll just go C. It doesn't matter which one as long as I do both. So I'm going to solve for grams of C now. Which means what do I have at the end? Grams of C. And tell your partner, grams are always attached to what? 1 mole of the same thing, which happens to be C. So now that goes up there. So I have mole of C. And what's in front of C? A 2. Okay, oh, I never write the grams. The grams of C was 65.98. You don't really need to right now. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. In this, when we learn significant figures, it's when we do math with measurements. These are just math numbers they gave us. So our answer, yeah, our answer should be, I have 2 places after the decimal, so, or 3 sig figs. So I should do that, but don't stress a ton about it in the process. All right, so I'd plug this in. Anyone have this already? Yeah, 1 second. I can choose C or D, and it doesn't matter which one I do. I just have to do them both the same. So I have to do both for C or both for D. Now, don't solve for B, because that's a reactant. We're gonna use that to find the other one. Okay, anyone have this answer? That's okay. 11 point what? 11.16. Okay, I got a couple nods. We'll call that good. The problem is I switched to them pain. I don't know. I'm not mad at myself too, but I was committed. Okay, now the second picket fence, please look. The second picket fence starts with the other given, which was 3.00 grams of B this time, right? Now, everybody, I still have to solve for grams of C though. The starts are different, but the ends are the same. So I'm just going to set this up. I have grams of B. Tell your partner over and over and over. Grams are always tied to what? 1 mole of the same thing. So that's B, which means I have mole of B down here. So far, so good. Now I'm solving for grams of C. So I come back here. This is grams of C for every 1 mole of C. So what must be on top? Mole of C, right? And that is a 2. What was in front of B? A 2. You okay with that? Oops. So many people are cheating right now in PE. It's embarrassing. Okay, I better find my grams. B was 166.91. And C is still the same here, 65.98. Someone type that in for me. 2 point what? 1.19. Okay, we've done a lot of math. Let's see if you remember. Tell your partner the next thing you would do based on these answers. Nope. 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 I haven't heard the answer yet. And do what to the bigger one? Get rid of it. Good. Okay. That's fine. Just write a note. Don't use. Okay, so back with me. What we would do now is we would ignore this one, right? So listen, the one that produces the smaller amount of product is the limiting reactant. B would be the limiting reactant. Who's with me right now? Okay, a lot of time, a lot of effort, but we now know a couple things. I know that at the end, this is going to be 0 that's left over, right? The limiting reactant is completely consumed in a reaction. It's like the wood in your fireplace. You got plenty of oxygen, but once you run out of wood, it's gone and the fire doesn't go anymore. Okay. All right. Now, I do know something else also. I know that this is 0 at the end. And I know how much of this is there at the end because that's what I was doing. That's the one I crossed out. So don't fall for that like I almost did. It's 1.19. Okay, now there's still more information I need. I need to know how much silver carbonate I have. You with me on that one? Okay, so guess what we got to do? Another picket fence. Okay, so I'm going to erase just because it's here, and I'll just put it in right here. But you would have a third one. Tell your partner, this is really important. Tell your partner, what do I start this picket fence with?
So I get that means this one's going to be all used up. Then do we do something with this number?
That number is how much of C there is at the end.
Okay.
So yes, that's important. Yep, based on this limiting reactant, will produce that much of C.
Okay.
All right. Do we know what to start this with? Limiting reactant, which was that the 3.0 grams? All right, so we're going to start with our 3.00 grams, and you don't have to put 0.00, but just remember your answer should have 3 sig figs. And that was B, wasn't it? Okay, now this time I'm solving for grams of what letter? D. D, as in Davidson's not dumb. Okay. Will you take a minute and see if you can fill in the rest of this puzzle? Do you see the value of changing the things to variables? Yeah, you'd run out of ink writing lithium carbonate, silver carbonate. Luckily, my digital ink never runs short. Yeah, that's true. The battery dies. I'm dead. Haley, I have a theory about Bountiful. I think that they're better than we are. I don't know. It's just
That's quite the theory.
I just got that feeling.
I have a theory too.
Do you?
Yeah, it might be a little taller.
They're huge.
You should hear what the people on the live stream say though.
Mm.
They're so funny.
Are they mean or dumb?
Mostly dumb.
Got you.
Like, they'll be like, they definitely scouted out Nico because you can tell that they worked on their block against Nico. And I'm like, or they're just like a foot tall.
Yeah, or they're 3 of them are over 6 feet tall and can get to the spot they need to be.
I know, in one of the rotations, Megan was like, we have 3 middle blockers on the front row over there. And I was like, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, sometimes you just lose to better teams. It happens. All right, my friends, how'd you do? Thumbs up if you could fill it in. Thumbs up if you could fill it in. All right, that's most of you. Some of you didn't thumbs up, but you're doing it anyway. So here we go. I'm going to go pretty quick. Grams B comes over. Grams are always tied to 1 mole of the same thing. Mole B has to come over here. All right, and B, that was a 2, wasn't it? Okay, then D, if I have grams of D, I have grams of D. Grams are always tied to 1 mole of the same thing, so I must have mole of letter D up here. And what was that? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I have a 1. Yeah, his is backwards of mine.
No, yours is back.
Nope, he's wrong.
Except for you
That-
agreed with him.
I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so now look up here. I have 275.75 right here. And then B has been the same the whole time. It's 166.91. You okay with that?
I'm so good.
Oh, I was worried you say I'm so confused. All right, we type that in and we get 2.48.
You know it.
Good job, baby. Okay, so right now we are 3/4 of the way done. What's the only thing we're missing? Excess. Now there's the okay way, and then there's the super right way, which includes another picket fence. Who doesn't by now?
Oh, this is my favorite thing.
Okay, I'm gonna erase this, but you now have a 4th one. Oh boy. If you're keeping track, put excess. Excess takes a couple steps. We picket fence and we subtract, right? This is the long way, but the way more right way. If you don't like it, you take 9.25 and you subtract whatever the 2 totals were and you're on your way, right? If you're out of time, do it. All right, here we go. Once we know the limiting reactant, we always start with the limiting reactant, right? Okay with that? That's the same. That's the same every time once I know the limiting reactant. Okay, this is getting old. But now I solve 4 grams of A. Yep, it's the thing that runs the whole mechanism. Everything is based on your limiting reactant. All right, and then mole A, was that a 1? What's grams A? That was a small one, wasn't it? Then we're ready to go. Now, I'm going to go like this. Oh, I'm not going to do that to myself. I can't even look. I'm doing this for emphasis here. We're solving for the amount used. We're not solving for the answer. This is the missed part, most missed part on the test. Okay, anyone have this calculated for me? 0.66. Fair enough. Okay, now that is used. We had how much? 6.25 minus 0.66, 5 point something, 69. What? I have 3 different numbers. Help me out here. 5.9. Now, someone do me a favor, add all 3 of those and see if they equal 9.25. All 3 answers, see if they add to 9.25. I got a yes from my man Seth. I got yeses from about 4 other people. Okay, if you're running low on time, just add the 2 and subtract from the original. If you have time, do it this way, because that will tell you if they don't all add, you screwed up somewhere. You got a whole piece of paper and you got one tiny problem somewhere.
So if I get it for alpha, so why did you use the B for alpha?
Because B runs out. So the maximum amount of stuff you can make depends on B. So if you needed to make a ton of cookies at your house, but you had the smallest amount of flour, that would be the thing that would determine how many cookies you made. It's the thing you have the least of determines how much you get. Go ahead, Preston. Shh. Hold on. What?
B limits it to make C is also always limited.
Yep. Yep. It limits every single piece. The C and B, you would add those together and subtract from the original A plus B. Okay, that's the super long way. I'm gonna show you the short way, which a lot of you is like, oh, I'm doing that forever. And some of you won't. Okay. I'll be on the same problem and I'm not going to solve it. The short way is just finding the limiting reactant quicker, way quicker. And if we know the limiting reactant quicker, then we can do everything faster. Okay, so the short way, whoops, oh boy, I wish that would have left that, but whatever. The short way, let me just write here. Convert both, oh, I have a slide with it already on there. It's coming up. The faster way, here you go. The faster way. And it's just right here. The faster way is just the top 2 right here. Convert both reactants to moles. And then compare the ratio of coefficients. And I know I'm looking at one of the triplets. She's just like, well, what? We'll get you there. Like, I will hopefully help this make sense to most of you. So convert them to moles and compare the ratio of coefficients. Now, do you notice the right? Only use this if it makes sense. If you're like, I don't get what he's saying, then do it the long way. The long way still gets you all the right answers. It takes maybe 3 or 4 minutes longer than the short way. Okay. Now, when in doubt, do math. That's the long way. And smaller numbers of limiting reactant. So if you can't figure it out, then do it the longer way. So let me come back to a problem. This problem right here. So hold on. I can't decide what I want to do right now. This piece right here, convert both reactants to moles. You need to know how to do this. I changed my mind again. By dividing by their molar mass. You'll do this throughout the year a ton. This is the first time we're just doing this straight thing, but you'll do it a lot. So we convert both reactants to moles by dividing by their molar mass. Okay. Now let me come back to this, where I have one of them written out. Well, okay. So there's all this extraneous stuff, but just stick with me for a minute. Li2CO3 is lithium carbonate. I am given, oh my, 6.25 grams of it. That's my given. I'm going to divide that number by the molar mass, which is 73.89. Someone tell me that answer real quick. .0 what? 8. Okay, that's for this one. The other problem, I was given 3.00 grams, and I divide it by 166.91, and I get something else. What's that? Okay. Okay, now this is the voodoo magic where some kids get lost. Please watch. Let me add just a label. These are moles of A, right? These are moles of B. Okay, please watch. Please watch. Look at their coefficients. B has to be twice as much as A. Look at me one more time. B has to be twice as much as A. Keep watching me. Is B twice as large as A? No. If the answer is no to the question you asked, then this is your limiting reactant. If the answer is yes, then the other thing is your limiting reactant. So let me rephrase that. Watch here. Since B is not 2 times larger than A, then B must be your limiting reactant. It's tricky. It takes practice. So what you do is you find the moles and then you ask yourself that question. If it was a 3, you'd say, is B, if this was a 3, Tim, I don't know how well you can see, but I'm pointing it, I should just hover. That's what I should do. So if this was a 3, I'd say, is B's value right here 3, if it was a 3 times bigger than that? Now, sometimes it gets tricky because it's a 3 or a 2. So you'd have to ask yourself, is it 1.5 times bigger? Or if it's like a 6 and a 5, things get really complicated. When in doubt, what do? Do the math, the picket fences, okay? This works extremely well when the coefficients are 1, 2s, and 3s, because they're either double, halves, or 1.5s. And our minds are pretty good at getting through there. Okay, don't be afraid. How many understood that, what I just did? Okay, a little more than half. All right. It really will save us some time. Let's do another problem where I will try and do it just the short way. There's got to be a harder one. that's still a long one. Whatever, we'll just do it. So lithium bromide or lithium plus bromine goes to lithium bromide. I'll just start a new one. So Li, and this will be a short one because there's only one product. So we'd end up with a 2, a 1, and a 2. So right now, just think about this right now. In order for this to work, I need twice as much lithium as bromine, right? That's what I need. If I don't, then lithium it would be the limiting reactant. If I do have at least twice as much, then whatever I just said it, I don't remember the order I said it, the other one would be. Okay, now, be careful here. When you're given masses, don't just think, wow, well, I should have written it the other way. Hold on. Well, you already wrote it, whatever. You can't just guess off the grams. That doesn't work. They have to be in moles. They have to be in moles. Okay, so I want to know how much lithium bromide is made. I want to know what the limiting reactant is. I want to know how much excess reactant there is. So this is the faster way. Lithium is 7 grams per 1 mole, right? I still had to balance it, still have to find it. Bromine is 79.9. I'm going to round to 80 because I have to double it. So it is 160. You with me? Lithium bromide. So it was 80 plus 7. So 87 grams for 1 mole. Okay, now look. These are the givens. The 25 and the 50. These are the molar masses. So the faster way, I divide the given by the molar mass. All right. So 25 over 7 would be what number? What's that? 3.57. 50 over 160. Okay, based on this, short discussion with your partner, short discussion. Based on that right there, which one is the limiting reactant? Absolutely. Okay. As long as it's over, it's great. It will never be exactly, or there wouldn't be a limiting reactant. That would mean they're equa or isomolars, the technical name. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to look at the coefficients. This one's a 2, right? This one's a 1. So I go to the bigger number and I ask myself, I should be here so Tim can see. I say, is 3.57 at least 2 times greater than 0.31? Yeah, it's like 1,000 times, not really, it's way bigger, right? So if the answer is yes, then the thing that was the smaller coefficient is your limiting reactant. Because you always frame your question on the big one. Is 3.57 twice as big as 0.31? Yes. So that means your bromine must be your limiting reactant. Okay. Now, who's with me on that part? Okay, so ultimately, I still need to know everything. I need to know the amount of lithium left, bromine left, and lithium bromide created. Right now, I only know one of them, and what one of them's a 0. Which one is it? Tell your partner. Bromine is 0 because it's my limiting reactant, right? Okay. Now look, please, and I know I'm throwing a ton of stuff. I know this is hard. These couple days right now are a little bit tricky. What we just did the short way is we already did this piece of the picket fence. Not that too. I took the molar, or I took the given and divided it by the grams. I'm there. You with me? Okay, so on the next slide, my picket fence will be shorter. I already know I have how many moles of my limiting reactant. 0.31 moles of Br2. But I need to know the grams of LIBr. You with me? You're like, no, I shipped off a long time ago. Here we go. I'm going to put my line here. Everyone look right here. This was grams before. It's moles now. So I already did that part. Okay, if this is moles Br2, tell your partner what comes down here. Moles of Br2. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Now, I got a question for you. I have a question for you. Please, please, please look. Is there a relationship in the world that relates moles of bromine to grams of lithium? No. So I must need another step right here, right? Because I have grams lithium bromide per what? 1 mole of what? Now I have a question. If this unit's here, what unit is there? Mole of lithium bromide. Is that a relationship? It is. Where do I find that relationship? The balanced reaction. I have bromine is a 1, lithium bromide is a 2, 87 is here. I found that earlier. Whoops, I move a lot. I'm sorry. And now I'm ready to do math. 0.31 times 2 times 87. What's that? 53 something? Okay. 53-ish grams of lithium bromide. Who's with me? Oh, Davis is out. This is a rough day. Ooh. All right. I'm not done yet. Tell your partner what you have left to do. Find the excess. Find the excess. All right. The excess is determined by how much we make, which is determined by what? The limiting reactant. You guys are great. It's all right, Tiffany. You're short anyway. Yeah, that was rude. All right, I'm only going to put 2 vertical lines here because I already did the first piece, 0.31 moles Br2. Now, Aisley asked a great question. She said, can I just do it with the grams? Absolutely. If that shoe's more comfortable, then wear it. Okay, this is the same down here, 1 mole Br2, but now I'm solving for grams of which one? All right, of lithium. So this would be 7 grams of lithium. Grams is always tied to 1 mole of lithium. And what comes up here? Is it lithium a 2? It's okay. You weren't the only one. Okay, so 0.31 times 2 times 7. So 1/3 of 14. I'm going to say like 3.2. 4.3. I hate myself sometimes. 4.34. Who had that? Now, I put a box around that. Should I have? No. What is that? That is the amount used. See, I almost screwed up. I definitely was like, all right, we're done. Next problem. But that's used. Even perfect Tom. So how much did I start with? Lithium? 25, right? 4.34 equals 20.66. It's okay. It's just my rounding. All right. That was fun.
So much fun.
Fun? Funner than your game last night?
I was watching.
About the same. It could have gone better. Could have gone worse though. Right, Palmer? Yep, there you go. Being positive. Yep, their coach even yelled at them. That's a win. All right. I'm having a blast. I hope you guys are too. Should I, what time is it? I have 13 minutes. Can we do another one in 13 minutes? We could, or we could push through. All right, here you go. 100 grams of each thing. Now, tomorrow, he's gonna hate me. Well, Monday. I'm gonna teach you the even faster way. Oh yeah. Now, the only reason I've been going long, medium, fast, is so that you know kind of what we're actually doing instead of just this crappy magic. Yes. Periodic tables. Just so happen to have one on that table over there waiting for you.
I was so confused because I literally thought you were
I've been asked to go observe out in the portables 5th, so you're all on your own. You all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You observing the whole thing or just
Just a little bit, but the portables are like an hour away. So, tell me I'm wrong. That's why you're late every day. The Nats, yeah, it's in a different county.
Portables are only an hour and a half away.
Oh, okay. Oh.
We're balancing this ourselves, right?
Yes, it is not balanced. Shouldn't be too hard to balance. Okay.
Oh, I did it.
Io died.
See, right. I'm always.
Kids. Seth, what'd you get for the molar mass of Ki? 165? Point what? How about MgCl2? Then the first thing. Then the thing with the 2 is limiting. All right. How we doing here?
Oh, sorry, I just wait. Whatever, that's.
Yes.
I'm ready.
Good. All right, here we go, my friends. Seth and Haley, they did the same thing, which means I didn't say it clear. So make sure hopefully I can clear this up. I said if the answer is no, then it's the bigger value, right? I meant it's the bigger coefficient, not the bigger answer here. Okay, so some of you are with me, some of you are definitely like, oh, I thought you meant the bigger answer. So watch the logic here. This is the 2. Is 0.6 twice as big as 1.05? No. So the limiting reactant is the one with the larger coefficient. It's not. So that means it runs out faster or sooner. It's tricky. Play some mind games on you. Okay, I got 3 minutes left. What's that? Yep. So I have Ki is my limiting reactant. Okay, I got 3 minutes left. Look at the screen for a second. I added something above the balance reaction. Anyone know what that was? That's the moles. Follow my logic real quick. My limiting reactant moles, it's like I'm pretending there's a 0.6 right here. Because that's how many I have, right? Which would mean this number would be 1/2 of whatever that number is. Okay with that? Based on the coefficients. So if I just pretend this is a 0.6, I just balance it. 0.3, 0.6, 0.3. You with me? This is going to be the shortcut. Now I know how many moles will be used, how many moles will be produced, and how many will be produced. And I know this is limiting. All I got to do is multiply those by their molar masses, and I'm out of here. It's all right. Once you know limiting, that governs every single thing we do. I'll show you. For the last two, it's just based on their coefficients. Do you see how this is a 2 and that is a 2? So in this reaction, the moles of this and that will always be the same amount used and produced. And the moles of the other one will be the same, but they'll be 1/2 of that one. This is how we're going to do them from now on. You don't have to like it. You can do it how you want. What? I don't know the answers. I can do them. Take 0.6 and multiply it by whatever the mass of KCl is. 0.3 times MgI2. You don't know it, but I just did the real long picket fence. I just didn't write it out. Because look, I took their given, give me the second, I divide them by their molar mass to find moles. Then, keep looking at me, then I used their ratio of coefficients to determine how many moles there were. The last step, I just multiply by their molar mass. That's the picket fence, just not all drawn out. We'll go over it. I know you're like, what? I'll do them and I'll put it in the group chat. What? My own children? No.